What's up YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Porygon 2 in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section of the video and let's get into it. So Porygon 2 obviously is the best Eviolite user in the game, so you're probably going to find a place to put it onto your team, whether you're playing doubles, singles, or any other sort of rules. So I've got a couple of sets here, and I'm probably going to do a couple more as I'm going along as well, because it's quite a versatile Pokemon. And let's have a look at it. So firstly, being an Eviolite Pokemon, benefiting from that 1.5 in defense and special defense, a normal type, makes it, with one weakness, makes it very, very good. We've got a nice health stat, 85, a good special attack stat, good defensive stat, good special defense. Very, very good. Now, its main sort of abilities we got here is Trace, Download, and Analytic. All these abilities can be used on it. It kind of just depends on what set you want to do or what situation. So I'll probably do a few builds using all of these abilities. So the first build we got here is more of a standardish special defensive build here. So every Porygon is going to have Recover on it. It's a great move. It works, you know, well across the board there. It's good to have some coverage on Porygon. Ice Beam makes very, very good coverage. We've also got Tri-Attack. Tri-Attack is a nice normal type move, 80 base power, and you've also got a chance of getting a Paralyze, Burn, or Freeze, which could be handy. And Foul Play is quite a good little utility option on there as well. Especially if you build it more special defensive, the opponent may... When you do see a Porygon 2, the opponent may be inclined to try and set up against it, especially if it's a physical attacker. And if they do that, you can punish them with Foul Play. Some other options you could possibly run on it, instead of maybe Foul Play or maybe take away Tri-Attack or Ice Beam, you can have Thunder Wave on there. That's quite a good move to run on there too. Just good, you know, paralyzing, speedy opponents. And Porygon 2 works very well with super offensive Pokemon, hyper offensive Pokemon. And it's very good at swapping in, sponging an attack, paralyzing, doing a bit of damage, and then creating a swap or a setup for your sweeping Pokemon. So that's definitely an easy way to use this Pokemon. It works very, very well. This build here, I reckon this would be a little bit better for singles. As for Terra types, we've got Terra Fairy. This is purely based more on a defensive Terra Fairy typing. Obviously, it's weak to fighting normal, so you Terra Fairy and you're going to be able to you know, live those fighting moves easy. And Fairy type's very good defensive as well. Very, very good. Obviously, it's probably the best type in the game, so very, very good on Porygon. Now, at this point in time, Porygon 2 cannot get Toxic. But if you're watching this guide down the track, Toxic is a very, very good move on there too, if it can learn it, because it did in the past, but a lot of Pokemon obviously lost Toxic. So I'm just saying that for the purpose of maybe if you're watching this video a few years down the track. So that's definitely a good amount of options here for it to have. Another one you can do as well, you can do Terra Blast on there. Terra Blast is interesting because it's got the same base power as Tri-Attack, and you don't always have to Terra right away. So you can use that as an attack, but have in the back to Terra type and use a different type move too. So that's another way of doing it. Now with this set, I've given it Trace. So I would definitely recommend a Trace. And that's going to, you know, if you time it right, you can trace very, very good abilities. For example, you might be able to trace Blood Moon's Mind's Eye or something like that, so you could use normal type moves on Ghost and those sort of things. So some other really cool stuff like that. So it sort of traces sort of how you play it too. Or you might be able to trace an ability like, you know, say you got a powerful water type Pokemon, or you get Water Absorb, something like that. You know, handy abilities and things like that, which are, you know, very, very good. They are situational, but they're also very, very good. It gives it a lot of options. With this set, I'd go in with Trace here. We're not really doing an analytic set because that's going to be working on something else. And Download, I've got some other sets of that. So that's how I would go about using Porygon 2, a more special defensive set. Let's have a look now at a bit more of an offensive set. because this set we've put EVs in health and special defense, max them both out. Judging on what sort of like rules you're playing, whether you're playing like singles or specific or Smogon or anything like that, you may want to put a little bit more into defense, but I feel the special defense works very nicely. If you want to put a little bit more into defense, you could do that too. Just go bold. That sort of just buffs it a little bit, but Eviolite gives it such a great buff in defense already. It's quite good. So yeah, let's have a look at the next one there. Another one you could possibly run here. I just want to mention Terra as well. You could do Terra Ghost too. So Terra Ghost works well with Terra Blast. So you can do Terra Blast normal. And then say if a fighting type comes in, you can go Terra Ghost as well. I thought I'd just mention that because that's not a bad one to have either. And then you've got a powerful ghost type move as well, right? So let's have a look at the next one. This one's definitely a more offensive set, and this one's built around going last with analytic ability. So with analytic ability, we've got a 1.3 times power boost if it's going to move last, and with such a an average speed stat or below average speed stat of 60, quiet nature and 0 IVs, you can get a nice slow Pokemon. Now, we've got max health and max special attack EVs, the quiet nature dropping speed. If you want to put a little bit more other stats, you can, but for the purpose of this set, I'm doing like a all-round bulky set that hits hard. Now, with this one, I've got pretty much similar kind of moves. Recover's very good on every Porygon, even a meme set recovers very, very good. Ice Beam's Thunderbolt gives it near perfect coverage, and you've got Terra Blasters there as well, and interesting enough, speaking of coverage, I thought Stellar could work kind of interesting on Porygon as well, because you could get a Stellar boost on Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and say if the opponent went for a Terra, you could punish them with Terra Blast too. Stellar for Terra Blast on the with Stellar, so that wouldn't be a bad set actually for a more offensive Porygon 2, and still retaining a bit of bulk there. Well, a good amount of bulk because you've got max health and you've got Eviolite too, so something to think about for that. You could run like Terra Fairy and Terra Ghost on this one too. I quite like running those Terras. I think they're pretty good on there. I'd say they're probably the best ones to run. If you've got any other Terras you'd like to suggest for that, or any other movesets for Porygon, please leave them below there. So that's another way of running it. Now let's have a look at some... This is more doubles, these ones here. So let's have a look at that. This one I'm running pretty much the same. This is almost the same as that analytic offensive one, but instead of running analytic, we're going to go for download here. So download is going to boost the attack, or the special attack is going to be raised based on what the foe's weaker defense is. So you can sort of figure that out for yourself. If you know your Pokemon stats well, you can play that and get a special attack boost, and it's going to be quite a threat, and it's going to have a lot of bulk too. So this is a Trick Room set. So if you're running Trick Room, make sure you don't run Analytic, because you're going to go first, and Analytic isn't going to work. So don't run Analytic with Trick Room. So we've got Download. You could run Trace as well. I'm not saying you can't run Trace, but Download's pretty good, especially if it's a sweeping set and you get a special attack boost. So great, bulky Trick Room setter for a team. We've got Recover, obviously. Terra Blast, so you can use Terra Blast. The great thing I love about Terra Blast is you've got a normal type move already, and then you can just Terra Ghost, so you've got like lots of options there. And Ice Beam is just great for coverage and stuff too. Like you can take out Landorus and things like that in doubles, which you're easy with you can take a Landorus out with no special attack investment at all. So unless they're running something crazy like Assault Vest or Yaki or something like that. So that's just something kind of cool there to note. Now the EVs will run this on the defensive, and yeah, download. You could, if you're looking for a little bit more bulk on the defensive side, you could always take a little bit of health off, or if you're looking to sort of let me fix my EVs too. That's meant to be 0. I don't know why that wasn't. But yeah, you want to have 0 in there in quiet nature, dropping that down. But if you want to be able to live certain hits, or if you're worried about stuff like that, you can also take a little bit off health and dump it into other defensive and special defense. But I quite like that. Works well across the board. I always like 252 stats across most of my sets, unless you want to be able to specifically outspeed a Pokemon, live certain hits and stuff like that. That's where you can start adjusting them for whatever rule set you're playing. I'm just sort of speaking generally here, because my videos apply to all sorts of plays, not just one singular rule set. But some interesting facts here, just some damage calcs I find when I've used this. So like with Porygon, you can get some nice damage on stuff like what be called, like Flutter Mane and stuff. Like Terra Ghost will actually take out a Flutter Mane, which is good. Very, very good to get around that. And then you've also got stuff like Ursaluna, Blood Moon and stuff like Ice Beam. Ice Beam can do a lot of damage to that as well. So then, like a 2-hit KO. So there's some pretty threatening Pokemon and stuff out there like that. And then alternatively, with some of these other bulky sets, especially like the special defensive ones, you can live like Blood Moons from Ursaluna very, very well. Like you can probably live like, at least one, and then it's going to have to use a different move like Vacuum Wave, and you can recover off or hit it with another attacking move. So there are some cool sort of like damage sculpts there. Just some more like Pokemon that are used a lot more often. So that's that first one. Let's have a look at the second one. This one's also a Trick Room one as well. I like running Porygon2 as Trick Room. It works well. You don't have to run it. It's just such a great Trick Room setter. This one was Terra Ghost, Terra Fairy. Pretty much you can use those ones. I just like that. So same sort of moves here. We've got a Terra Blast. This one I thought you could muck around with Discharge as well. That could be interesting. Maybe you've got something like a Lightning Rod Pokemon or a Volt Absorb Pokemon as a partner. That could definitely work. Jolteon, stuff like that. Any Lightning Rod Pokemon. That could definitely work. Or you could pair it with a ground type Pokemon. Like say you've got a Gastrodon on your team. You could pair it with that. Cool little stuff like that. Instead of running Thunderbolt, just something alternative you could use. Plus you've got a 30% chance to paralyze as well. So just opening up some options there. And this one's more of a defensive build too, if you notice. So we've got Max Health, Max Defense, Relax Nature. And that's a very, very defensive Porygon 2. It's going to tank a lot of physical moves and be a royal pain in the backside. You could also swap out, if you don't want to have Discharge, you could swap out Recover and put it onto there as well. So that's just another option. There are a lot of things that you can actually do here for Porygon, like I was mentioning before. So yeah, Terra Fairy. Once again, if you've got any other Terra types you'd like to mention, you can absolutely do that. You could even slide. You could, if you don't want to, if you feel like you could just do some damage there, or try and maybe get a bit of coverage, or you could even do Foul Play on this on there as well. But I'd be more inclined to do Foul Play on a more of a special defensive one, because once the opponent sees how bulky you are on the defensive side, they're probably not going to use a physical move. Unless it's fighting, or they've got a boost in attack and such like that. So I'd probably use that, there and those sort of situations. But I'll do some more analysis on the doubles and stuff, and we'll have a look at some teammates and stuff as we go. I've just got a couple of little fun sets here, and then we'll have a look at some teammates and some other options and what we can do. So this is the couple of meme sets here. So I thought you could run Porygon 2 as like a charge beam set. Just a little bit of fun. So these last two sets, obviously very memey and gimmicky, but fun. This would probably work best in singles, because you need to have a little bit of setup. So we've got Terra type Electric and Trace. So if you're smart, you might be able to Trace Levitate, and then it has no weaknesses at all. And that will be very, very bulky and annoying to get rid of. So interesting. And we got Eviolite. Eviolite's pretty much on all of them. So we've got Charge and Charge Beam. So Charge is going to boost up its special attack. Charge is going to boost its special defense. And it's also going to boost the next electric type move used. So you can use those two in conjunction. And then we've got Recover and Tri Attack. So Tri Attack spreading status, and just general stab as well before, unless you want to, Terra type into electric. So Max Health, Max Defense, Bold Nature. Charge is boosting the special defense. It's going to be very, very hard to get rid of. Alternatively, you could even try and go for something like Terra Steel or Poison or something like that too. Terra Poison isn't bad on Porygon 2 either. A lot of the time, generally speaking, whether you're playing singles or doubles, probably more singles, I would say. Porygon 2 can be a toxic, a trap for toxic. So if you got something clever on your team, like a great partner, like I'm going to mention this is Goldengo. That's a great partner Pokemon, because not only it can get around anything like toxic, it's also fighting moves are not going to affect it. So I would say Goldengo is probably a top a top sort of partner for Porygon2 if you're looking for a good partner for it. Whether it's singles or doubles, kind of good there. So there's my Charge Beam meme set. Very tanky, very annoying. We have to have a Pimpnite special. We do every video. If you're new and watching this is where we do some crazy, crazy sets. So check this one out. I call this the Pimpnite special because it's a complete meme. It's fun, but it's caused assault, right? So this is my Lagging Tail Pimpnite special Porygon2. So this one, we're using a physical set this time. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, physical, that's going to be crap. But I've actually had some pretty good success with this set in situations. So we got Max Health, Max Attack EV's Brave Nature. So we're going, obviously we're trying to work this under maybe, you could possibly run this under Trick Room, or actually maybe not. We won't do this one under Trick Room. We'll go Adamant on this one. I'm sort of changing my mind on the spot. I'm sorry about that. But this one we've got like a flinching set. So this is going to be flinching with Zen Headbutt, 20% chance. We've got Thunder Wave on top of that too. But the main thing here is we're not running Eviolite, we're running Lagging Tail. So this is a really, really annoying item to give someone, because Lagging Tail actually make the opponent move last in their priority bracket. So even if you've got a really slow Pokemon, you can make use of that, right? So you trick them a Lagging Tail, right? So then that means you can outspeed them. You don't have to worry about your speed. And then you can go for something like Thunder Wave. And then you paralyze them. And then you can start spamming Zen Headbutt. So you've got Paralyze there, and you've got flinches going at the same time. You can even recover off too. And, you know, just before you feint them, right, just get your item back and finish them off, and then trick it to the next Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. You could even run it. You could even run it with no EVs in attack at all, and just like make it bulky and rely on flinches. But I cause a few DCs with this set, like people disconnecting, like just raging over it, because it's a salt generating set basically. But a bit of fun. Don't use this against me, anyone who's watching this who attends my battle streams and such, but a little bit of fun there. Let's have a look now at some teammates, all right? So I want to talk about some good partners that you could definitely run. Now, number one partner definitely is Goldengo, a great partner Pokemon. As I mentioned before, it's a ghost type. You can swap into those fighting type moves. It has good as gold as well. It's steel type. A really good Pokemon, essentially, as a partner there. Another good Pokemon you can have on there, definitely is Amoonguss. So Amoonguss is going to be able to sponge those fighting type moves really well, and it's just got good typing and stuff as well. So that's a very, very good partner Pokemon too. Now, I did mention this earlier, hyper offensive Pokemon are very good with Porygon as well. So whether you got something, I did speak about Blood Moon before. Blood Moon's good. That's a good partner for it, because that hits very, very hard with a Blood Moon, and it's good at getting rid of like a lot of those like pesky encounters and stuff like Incineroar. Well, I mean, Incineroar is very good on a lot of teams. Incineroar is very good as well. Especially with Intimidate and Parting Shot, and I think it's very, very nice sort of counter Pokemon to anything. And you can also run stuff like, another good one would be, Urshifu is good on every team. So Urshifu is very good too, like Rapid Strike, that's very good. There's a lot of great like Pokemon, depending on what you're playing with, of course, on that team. Another good one that's interesting too, can be Archaludon. That can be interesting with like a stamina set. So that can be a possible sort of matchup there. You might be able to boost up those staminas and stuff. That could be interesting. And then use Porygon2 as a special defensive wall, because Archaludon's special defense is rubbish. So you can also give that one a try. Some other ones I'm thinking of here, just on the spot. There's some of the probably the more meta or best ones you could do. For singles, a good one that works well with Porygon too. Since there's no Toxic in the game, Glimmora is also very good at setting that Toxic up, which works well with Porygon too. That's for singles more. And then say doubles, Trick Room, right? Calyrex Ice Rider is a great offensive like partner for it. So you get the Trick Room set up by. You get your Trick Room set up by Porygon, and then Calyrex can sort of like, go crazy there. And another good one's like Torkoal wouldn't be too bad either. Torkoal wouldn't be too bad. And that can also deal with the likes of, somewhat deal with the likes of Zacian as well and threaten with its fire type moves. And that's not too bad. It's got, it's got very good natural defense as well. So there's a couple of, a couple of examples there for teammates and stuff like that. Let's have a look at some more options for Porygon, because it does get quite a few moves. If you've got any other stuff to add to that, please do in the comment section. Always like to hear people's thoughts and opinions and feelings and stuff. So this thing gets so many great moves, right? You get Blizzard, so you could definitely use that in doubles. If you have, say, you had like a snow team, you could absolutely make use of that. Blizzard. I don't know if I go Terra Ice on Porygon. You could. It's an option. It's still weak to it's still going to be weak to fighting. But man, with Eviolite and you had Terra Ice, right? Just a thought, man, that would be insanely bulky with the buff to like Snow Skate, right? That'd be crazy, right? Really bulky. So that's an option you could go for there as well. Just a bit of a thought. Some other options here. We went over Discharge already. Ice Beam's on pretty much every Porygon set. It's very good coverage. Psychic's not bad there for coverage for fighting type Pokemon. Generally though, you're probably going to be swapping out or you're going to be tearing into a different type to get around that, but you could do that. Terra Blast is very good because it's versatile, because it's got the same base power as Tri-Attack there. So I feel like Terra Blast can sometimes be a lot better than Tri-Attack because it gives you more options. Thunderbolt's very good too. If you're running a rain team, you can run Thunder on there. That's not too bad. Some other options we got here. You got Icy Wind too for a bit of like support. That can be good for a support set, but and an Electro Web as well. So you're dropping speed on both of them, that can be, but fitting them in onto a set is another thing, right? If you can do that. You got some other sort of like recovers that's bread and butter. We've also got Trick Room, that's very good as well. Interesting enough, you got Conversion and Conversion too. They are very gimmicky moves, but you can do cool stuff with Conversions. You can like change your type and stuff, depending on what move you have on there. So whatever, it just matches the first move slot. So you could change yourself into, let's say if you had something like Shadow Ball, right? And then you have Conversion. So you can convert yourself into a ghost type using Conversion, which is interesting. So you don't have to Terra to change your type, which is cool. But it is gimmicky though, so that's something you have to sort of consider. And Conversion 2 is even more gimmicky because you have to change your type, resisting the type depending on what the opponents use. So if you're going to use Conversion, I'd use Conversion over Conversion 2 because it's easier to pull off. But that's another interesting thing that you can do too, like changing types and cool stuff like that around. Let's bring up those status moves again. So Thunderwave is very good on it. Like I said, Toxic. It doesn't learn Toxic in this generation, but if it does learn in the future, just give it to it. It's very good on it. It's a great Toxic stalling Pokemon. And we've got some other interesting stuff. Gravity, like this is interesting too. Like I ran like a cool. If you're into these sort of like gimmicky teams or something interesting, you can go Gravity in singles or doubles. So Gravity is going to increase the accuracy by 1.67. So you can start doing cool stuff like, Blizzard, Thunder and those sort of things. If you really game, you can go Zap Cannon. But you can start like using those moves that aren't like so accurate, which could be fun. You could make yourself like a set like this. So like, yeah, you could do that. That could be interesting, making use of Gravity. Gravity's difficult because it only lasts for 5 turns, and it's definitely not a real overpowered sort of status, but it's fun if you like Gravity style teams. You could definitely give that one a shot. Some more options here. I'm just having a look at. There's not too much else. You got Magnet Rise. You might be able to cheese something with like Terra Electric and Magnet Rise. You might be able to do that. Has Recycle, but you have to give up Eviolite, so I don't know about that one. It does learn all the weathers, but there's definitely, it's outclassed, and other Pokemon can definitely, set those up a lot easier. It does have Rest and Sleep Talk, but not many people are going to use them over having Recover already. And it does get Trick as well, but bear in mind you got to give up like a pretty damn good item for that, right? Now, the ways to beat Porygon 2, usually the best way to beat it is to taunt it. There are a lot of taunt users in the game. Some primary good ones you could have, I'm thinking, well, any sort of taunt Pokemon, there are a lot of them. So once this gets taunted, it can't use Recover, it can't use Trick Room if it's got it, so it can't recover off. So it's eventually going to get worn down. So definitely any Taunt users. Single Style Urshifu's probably one of the best sort of counters there. Rapid Strike, sorry. That's a very good counter. This Pokemon can be set up on as well. So Flutter main is very common. So that can sort of set up Calm Minds against it. That could be very dangerous. That can be set up on. It has to worry about, like, bear in mind you have to worry about Thunder Wave and things like that too. That might sort of be a bit of a problem. Another one that can really sort of mess up Porygon2 is Ogerpon, a Half Flame Ogerpon. That can mess it up, with its Ivy, and then, you've got, if you want to Terror it and then Sword Dance, Porygon is going to get wrecked by that. So, yeah, it might be able to, the only thing it might be able to Thunder Wave you or something like that, but that's about it. And it can just heal off any damage to Horn Leech. So there are probably some really good counters there for Porygon too if you're struggling to get around it and stuff. It's just such a difficult Pokemon to get around if you don't have the correct stuff there. So fighting moves, Taunt, anything that can really set up on the Porygon, basically. That's pretty much it. Let's think of some more stuff here. So just, I always like to go over absolutely everything on a Pokemon. I don't like to miss anything. No, there's really not too... On its physical side, if you are, it learns very few physical moves. I think I made a cool Facade and Flame Orb set that was interesting, that I gave it Trick. But it's not obviously it's not a physical attack. It gets very, very little there. But yeah, overall, this Pokemon is very, very good. It's the best Eviolite user in the game, or definitely up there with the best, just due to its typing, the moves that it learns. Porygon 2 can basically get us a place on any team, whether it be a singles, doubles, or whatever. Great Eviolite Pokemon, great Trick Room setter, great support utility Pokemon. You could absolutely put it on any team. It's never, ever going to let you down. Another weakness it does have as well is Knockoff. After that Eviolite is gone, it is significantly not as bulky. That's pretty much it. I think I've sort of mentioned everything I possibly could about this. I'm just thinking anything else. So some interesting damage, Carl. So I was thinking of as well. So we mentioned Landorus already. That can easily sort of get rid of that. Say another Pokemon like Iron Hands is very good as well against Porygon 2. That's a great Pokemon for Porygon 2 as a counter, because it can't be paralyzed because electric, and it's fighting type as well, and it's going to hit very, very hard. So, but just for example, sort of like, say for example, this is using Drain Punch, right? That a defensive Porygon can still live, say like a max attack. Say if you're running a defensive one, it can still live a Drain Punch like fairly well, like 60-ish%, like on a real defensive one. Say something like that. Just off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's around 50%. Even a Helping Hand or something like that, it can still live that. So that just shows you how bulky it is. It's pretty insane there. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd taking Quark Drive into account there, but maybe a bit more. But it's very, very hard to one shot. That's difficult. So you generally have to have something that's super effective, and you can set up on it against like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Porygon 2. I hope this guide helped you out there if you are planning on using Porygon 2. It's a very, very good Pokemon. Always has been. I might cover a Porygon Z in the future too. It sort of doesn't feel right not covering Porygon Z. But once again, if you enjoyed this, if you found it helpful, click like there, drop me a comment, tell me about Porygon, what do you think of it? If you're wondering if I've done a moveset already, check out my playlist. I've done hundreds of these moveset guides. I do plan to go through all the Pokemon eventually. It's just, it will just be one of these sort of things I put out here and there once a week. And if you really want a Pokemon done, put it below. I'm sort of going through my comments and I'm picking the ones that I see the most. I'm not really doing any order. It doesn't matter what Pokemon is. Sort of looking at more the fully evolved ones, or very prominent Eviolite users like Porygon 2 and legendaries and other stuff is cool too. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Check out those other movesets if you like there, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.